So first off, since this is kind of in the news and kind of a big deal, not covered as much as I thought it would be. But anyway, so yeah, Baghdadi, the founder and leader of the ISIS terrorist organization, is no more. Now, Donald Trump announced this and all that stuff, and good for him. But I feel like he's kind of like taking credit here. Mm, and that's just wrong. It's the guys who serve this country, the United States, the armed services, and protect us from evil, tyranny, and terrorism and all that stuff. It was this team called Delta Force. Now, a lot of the guys I'm talking to right now probably know Call of Duty, Battlefield, or the game Delta Force. So I don't think they need an explanation. They're just a badass military group that gets the job done. And they did. So, whatever your beliefs are, I don't want to get into it. It's not the main topic of my conversation. I just want to say, if you don't know who Baghdadi is, then, I'm sure you know who ISIS is. So, yeah, that guy made them. Or whatever the case is. Anyway, he led them, whatever. He was like a belief system. So this, demise of their leader, even though they pick like a new leader every day, it's inevitable. It happens. This is more of a hit to their ego, I want to say. This was like something personal. And, yeah, I don't think they'll be diminished and destroyed completely, but I think this, sends a clear message, and, we'll find you, all that stuff. It's just a matter of time. However it works, I don't know. It's the secret world of, CIA and Black Ops stuff, but I'm glad he's dead. There was nothing redeeming about this guy. He, blew himself up pretty much with his three kids. And, yeah, they were children, actually. So, just kind of paint that picture. This is the same guy who, threw, not personally, but, directed and threw homosexuals off buildings, cut people's heads off, including, a few American reporters, and broadcasted it. Oh, and also set on fire a Jordanian pilot. I'm not done yet. Even I think he raped I don't know if she was I know she was an American citizen, and trying to help out the cause, overseas, and just got caught up at the wrong place, the wrong time. So yeah, bad guy. Glad he's dead, and I think, like I said, this will definitely hurt them. I'm gonna say like indefinitely, but like definitely mess with their psyche a little bit. People thought this guy was untouchable. Another like Bin Laden case, but nope. In the end, it's the same fate for these guys. You think they would wise up, but it's hard to kill a ideology, and that's what he did. This man, he liked to use religion as a weapon. So many countries use them, and yeah, he in the end he got what he deserved, and just radical ideas mixed with hatred is just not a good mix. So there you go. All right, moving on. So I'm gonna paint you a picture right here. Just follow me. Imagine you had a good friend, maybe not a best friend, but someone you looked after, and they grew up with you. You took care of them in a way where you kind of like boosted them. They weren't dealt the best cards of life, so you took care of them. And then one day, even though they don't really rely on you that much, they still that little help you give them, carries on the day for them, or makes them feel better, whatever. You just drop them completely. And, it kind of messes that person up, number one, and they feel betrayed. And, would you feel remorse? I'm sure there's a reason why you did it. Excuse me. So, yeah. Imagine that. Happens all the time. Just recently, not recently, but, recent, we ditched the Kurds. Donald Trump issued some order to kind of like pack up the troops, little troops that were there in this region between, I believe it was Turkey and Syria, and just kind of left. I don't know the extent of how we backed out of this, helping the Kurds. in case you guys don't know who the Kurds are, they're their own ethnic group in the Middle East. Middle East is big, got a lot of people there. Um, think of the Kurds of a Iranian tribe, not quite Arab. More ethically diverse than the other groups of people there. Um, quick backstory, history lesson, because I love history. Um, so the Kurds, all right, been around in the Middle East and the surrounding area, Turkey, probably bits of North Africa. Grew up with the other Semitic Arab groups of tribes and all that, and yeah, they flourished. They were heavily involved in different groups, historic groups at the time. In fact, one of them, um, when during the Crusades, Saladin, hope I'm saying his name right, who was like the head of this big caliphate, and he beat the Crusaders, the Crusader Knights, and took Jerusalem. He was a Kurd, go figure, and tough guy, but respected his enemies, and that just goes to show you, you know, their place in history. Now, you think a group like that would have a home to call their own? Actually, no. This leads to my other point here. I'm getting across. So there is no Kurdistan. There's cities in the Middle East that house a lot of Kurdish refugees or Kurdish communities, and that's where they've been able to live. They're not well liked, being that they're ethically diverse. They're not treated the same, I believe. They're different religions. Obviously, being in the Middle East, are some of them are, well, a good part of them maybe are Muslim, both Shia and Sunni, or either or. Some are Christian, true believers. Really hardcore into the Orthodox variant of Christianity, I believe. And some, believe it or not, are Marxist communists. That's a whole other story. I don't want to get into that. But given that one group, the PKK, which is a wing of Kurdish fighters, who just so happen to be like I said, Marxist communist, Marxist blah. Yeah, they're regarded as terrorists. They're marked down in the long list of terrorist groups that are in there. Look, no one's angels in these kind of conflicts. They've been around for ages. Not one group is going to like each other for whatever reason and cause a lot of damage and destruction, no matter what their belief system is. But you got to look at the greater evil here. These guys single-handedly defeated ISIS, have held ground their own, have pushed back big armies between Syria, Turkey. Let me tell you, they get really disrespected in Turkey, like a lot. I don't know what happened there at some point in life, but the Turks just don't like the Kurds. And same goes with like Iraq. There's some, factions of, Iraqi militia and military. ISIS obviously couldn't stand them. They wanted to decimate them, so they attacked their, wherever, little cities they were housed in, but they were always pushed back. And we, the Americans, backed them. They saw, as always, there's always a proxy war or a proxy fight, the lesser of two evils. I guess we kind of ignored that fact. A lot of countries didn't like the fact that we ignored, the Kurds were, in fact, well, some of them anyway, were, terrorist organizations. But once again, I just don't see it. I don't see Kurds strapping bombs to themselves and going into churches or whatever. I see ISIS doing that. I see Al Qaeda and the Taliban, but I don't see Kurds. I see Kurds trying to develop their community, fight for their rights, and, kill bad guys. That's pretty stand up to me. You know what? Marxist or not, I don't care. Christian, Muslim, sure. They're fighting the bad guys. We knew that. We helped them out, and now we just kind of like walked out. So, what I'm getting at is, what does this lead to? I mean, look, I'm all for leaving that region. We should, if anything, we should do what we did like in Bosnia, like a small presence of United Nations or NATO. Remember those guys, like the police of the military, pretty much, international police, if you say. But yeah, But I mean, just to abandon a group that doesn't have a country of their own, mind you. Kurds don't have a country. They have, parts of cities that they stay at around the Middle East, but not an actual country. So I'm like, you want to talk about underdogs? Yeah, I favor the underdogs. And those guys are like the king of the underdogs because they lasted so long. Not just out through history, but through modern times. They were their backs were against the wall like 24/7. In fact, they have regiments, military orders, made up of other personnel. See how like ISIS like drew people from all over the world to join their cause? Well, the Kurds too. In fact, a lot of Americans, ex-military, or just someone who picked up a gun said, "I want to fight for these people." Did it? They somehow made it across the border and fought alongside the Kurds, and they treated them with the greatest respect in the world. They were just good fighters, good fighters, good fighters. Look, if you're fighting evil and someone who pretty much like hates everyone else and wants to like destroy, you know, just the greatness or what people stand for, I'm all for it. I don't know. I think it was a bad decision. I mean, like I said, I would like to see us, little by little pull out of the Middle East, especially things we can help. They've been fighting a very long time, and it's hard to resolve this. It's personal infighting, religious debates, whole deal. And how do you treat something like that? You can't. It's hard. It has to kind of either fizzle out on its own, or you just gotta have them all sit down at the same table and talk it out. Who knows when that'll happen? All I'm saying is, the Kurds deserve a chunk of land or something. Same thing with the Yazidis. Yazidis are another indigenous group to the Middle East who have a way different religion and are hated by these terrorist organizations. Just like the Kurds. Kurds. People don't like the Kurds because they're individuals, but you know what? They're tough as nails, and they probably said, "Listen, we're gonna lose our biggest supporter. We're gonna turn to the other guy," and that's what happens. Yes. So the other superpowers, aside from us, because we're not the only superpowers in that country, they start knocking on doors. Hey, listen, we just lost our best friend. Can we be your friend now? We're great fighters. And there you go. Then that changes the game and gives opportunity to other countries, even to, interject their influence. Obviously, the end game for the United States is influence in the Middle East, but, more or less so. The extent of that, I don't know. You could say it's for oil or politics, whatever. I'm just saying is if someone's in need, if someone is willing to, fight, and just with an inch of support by like a bigger brother, just that push in the right direction, why not? Is that really going to ruin your cup of coffee? No, I'm not saying boots on the ground. I'm saying rifles made in USA on the ground and Kurdish arms. Whatever. People don't like it? Screw it. Cut off. Look, it's big enough. Half the country's made up of deserts. Cut off a little part of that country. Say like, "Hey guys, there you go." Or why isn't there a United Arab League or something? There is one, right? I don't know. The politicians that are watching this right now, leave some feedback here. Is there an Arab League? I'm sure there is. There has to be, right? That sounds familiar. Why are they dealing with their own problems? All right? No. Instead, you have other groups that want nothing to do with this, that don't have a land to call their own, fighting your fight. So, yeah, I'm not in Trump's. I was never in Trump's corner. I'm just saying. I think it was a dumb move. If anything, if you're gonna do that, at least, if you're gonna pull out troops, then give them something, to fight with. Give them munitions, weapons, artillery, big heavy duty stuff, so they could defend themselves. So at least you're not saying, "Okay, goodbye," and you're flipping them while you're leaving, flipping them off. No. If you're going to leave like that, hey, look, be like, "This ain't my conflict, but here's a shitload of weapons. Good luck. Call us if you need, help," or something like that. That's all. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. I think the Kurds are, stand-up people. I wish they had a country of their own. Maybe one day. I don't know. I mean, they fall in line with way back when. It's another history lesson. When the Armenians were fleeing from, countries that they were established in. Same thing with the Greeks. The Turks were kind of closing, and I'm seeing that now. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of the Turks right now. I'm seeing, reflections of imperialism. I mean, don't get me wrong. Russia and Turkey both kind of, are in on this thing, I believe. And don't get me wrong. Like the Russians, I think they fight the good fight too, to an extent the Turks. But imperialism, man, on a massive level. I'm gonna take this land. I'm gonna push these people out, and we're just sitting by. Once again, not our conflict. I understand, but if we're used to, I mean, look at the Cuban Revolution and all that stuff. We were intervening like crazy to stop, communism. It didn't work. Now we're trying to stop, Islamic terrorists. Not quite working because it's crazy. It's just different ideals. But if you have a front runner willing to, sacrifice people, and the least you could do is, give them weapons and, a pat on the back saying, go for the gold, man. Why not? I don't know. Maybe I'm overstepping myself, but that's just what I think. And probably gonna, like, we would never ask for help unless we really need it. But, turning your back on someone like that, it's gonna be like forever embedded in our history now. And I don't know. For such a friendly nation, we're not sending off good vibes. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I feel like the Turks are up to no good. They're kind of stuck in their Ottoman Empire, days, and now they got Big Brother Russia, kind of giving them the thumbs up and saying, "Yeah, come join the fun." Well, good luck. That's all I gotta say, because it's a hostile region. You have all the firepower in the world, but if you don't have people on the ground that know a thing or two about the surroundings, just saying, you might want to be friends with certain people. All right, guys. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. It's been a while since I made a vid. I didn't think I would be able to do this again, but I had a little free time, and I was like, why not? This is a topic I hold dear. I like this. I like to talk about this thing, and whenever I can interject history with it, and any kind of political debate or current news, and yeah, I'm all about it. I'm just not into the whole CNN or Fox thing. I can't really predict or tell you guys what's up and go on my own tangent. I just kind of say what's off my mind and how I feel about current situations. And you heard it from me. All right, guys. Yeah, not sure when I could do this again, but in the meantime, stay tuned. If you have something to add to this conversation or comment, just message me down below. You guys know what to do. All right. Till next time, brothers. Peace.